bit behind the scenes from underneath and behind the world's wildest producer desk. For the YouTube listeners, my cable management, I have been having to troubleshoot some issues, and that's why it looks the way it is. Audio listeners, my cable management is impeccable. You don't even have to worry about it. But I did want to say before this episode starts that we did have an issue. My computer, mid-recording, like right at 25 minutes, something like that, went down. The graphics card died on me. And for the audio listeners, I'm holding the AMD graphics card. Very sad, very expensive, given how much the graphics card are on the market these days. But we thought we repaired it, got it through the episode, but then when we got to editing, we realized the audio was all messed up. And instead of skipping this week and scrapping the episode, we figured we could hobble through with the camera's audio. It's not as great as what you guys are used to, but it's still somewhat usable, and wanted to get something out for you guys. But next week we do have it fixed. It's been a heck of a week here. My transmission went out, my car, and now this graphics card on the computer. So a lot of fun. Very expensive week, but thank you guys so much for listening. Again, sorry for this. Again, we just want to get it out, but thank you guys again so much, and I hope you enjoy the episode. We'll see you next week as well. Bye.
Welcome to World's Wildest.
Hello!
Hello, everybody. How are you? Seriously, how's it going?
I know this one's for the comments now, not me.
Yeah. How are you, Connor?
Living the dream.
Living the dream. Connor's in a great mood today. What do you guys think about his pants?
Oh, don't bring those up.
Audio listeners,
No.
Connor's wearing some new pants today. He's
They're
a little
Costco.
nervous that you guys won't like them, but I think that they're nice.
They're too dressy. They're like supposed to be
I
golf
think
pants.
they're too dressy. I think that they're fine.
With a t-shirt? Okay, you didn't bring it up.
I think they're good.
Okay, thanks.
Guys, this is your favorite nature podcast. If for some reason this is your first episode and you're just finding us, hey,
Hello.
welcome. My name's Maya.
My name's Connor.
And we're your co-host. I have some experience working at zoos as a zookeeper. I'm the founder and executive director of a conservation education nonprofit in Austin, Texas called Wildest Sanctuary. And Connor.
I'm the director of operations at Wildest Sanctuary, and I have a wildlife technology company called Wildlife. And I've done lots with wildlife medicine, vet stuff, and a little bit of zookeeping, not as much as Maya. So not zookeeping technically, but
Connor likes
wildlife.
birds.
Yeah, they're cool.
And bison.
Bears.
And bears.
I'm going there
Yeah,
in
Connor's
May.
going to Alaska.
in May, so
We can get some Alaska
new
stories.
content there.
That's
If
fun.
I come back. We're probably going to go to Denali, and we're going to go hiking, and we're not going to bring any bear spray.
Why?
Because we don't want to hurt the bears. They just want hugs.
Don't spread that misinformation. You're bringing bear spray?
Yeah, they give me bear spray.
Yeah.
So,
Cool.
yeah.
Okay.
But we're not going to be done.
That's cool.
I've been around. Have you ever been like face to face with a wild bear?
No, have you?
Yeah, a few times.
Why? In Alaska?
Twice in Alaska, twice in Tennessee.
Wow.
So
No, I've never even seen a bear in the wild.
they're pretty chill. Like if you're in a group, you're fine.
Hmm.
So if you're alone, then yeah, it's a problem.
Connor may or may not be returning from Alaska.
Yeah, we'll see. But
Okay, Connor likes bears and birds and bison, and
What do
I
you
like bugs.
you like more bugs.
I like bugs. I like goats.
Ugh.
I
I will say
like primates.
the goats at your parents' nonprofit,
Very sweet.
they're amazing.
Very nice goats.
They bring me back to where I can be neutral towards goats.
Well, I would say that my favorite thing are bugs and goats and dogs.
Wombats.
What?
Wombats?
Oh, I love wombats. Yeah, but I more like the concept of wombats than them because I don't know any personally.
We'll fix that.
Anyway. Oh, sorry. Side note. Speaking of wombats in Australia, did you see Robert Irwin's new ad?
Oh yeah. Of course I did.
We're just going to talk about a little bit of pop culture news, guys, because this is your favorite nature podcast, and it would be wrong for us to not talk about Robert Irwin's new work that's come out
His
recently.
underwear ad, right?
Yeah, he did an
Yeah.
underwear ad. Did I tell you about his marketing strat?
Yes. Was I not the one that told you?
No, I saw it on a TikTok.
Oh. Well, the marketing strat for the gala in Las Vegas, right?
No. Okay,
that?
you told me about that.
Okay, yeah.
That he was like, now that I have your attention, there's
Right.
a gala in Las Vegas.
For like raising money for that, which is great. Smart.
Sick.
But
Smart.
I don't know the other marketing strat.
Oh, okay. So he did an interview after this underwear ad, and they were like, you know, of course, talking about the ad, whatever. And then they were like, he's single now, and so they're like, so what do you see for your future? What kind of girls are you looking for? And I wish I could do an Australian accent. I'm not gonna do that. He was like, you know, my parents. What's funny is like all the people that I love in my life, like they met the same way. My parents were at the Australia Zoo. My mom was an American tourist, and they met and fell in love. And then my sister and my wonderful brother-in-law Chandler, he was an American tourist at the Australia Zoo, and they met and they fell in love. So I'm just waiting for my American tourist to come to the Australia Zoo.
Oh my!
To find love.
That's smart. That's so
and
smart.
all the women in the comments are like booking flights to Australia right now. Like, I'm coming for you. Don't worry.
I bet he's genuine about that too, though. I don't feel like it's just a marketing strategy.
Connor, I think that
it's got to be.
He may want
both.
an American gal, but I also think he's a smart man.
Cannot be both.
Perhaps.
I feel like you can be both.
Okay, it could be both. Guys, you hear that? Time to fly to Australia because Robert Irwin is waiting for you.
I'm going.
Alright, great. Anyway, today's episode is World's Busiest. Every week we cover the most extreme animals in the animal kingdom on a specific topic. And this week, it's World's Busiest. I have the first one. I think it's very relevant. What do you think of when you think of busy animals?
Busy bee.
Busy bees. I'm going to talk about bees. Actually, I'm very passionate about this. You guys know how I feel about bugs. Okay, number one, there's like 20,000 species of bees worldwide. Okay? That's a lot of freaking bees. And they come in lots of different colors.
I want to try all their honey.
Aren't they pretty?
They're pretty.
There's like blue bees and green bees and yellow bees and black bees and like...
Bees.
Huh? What?
Continue.
Okay, there's a lot of different types of bees. They're the most important group of pollinators. Did you know that 1 in 3 bites of food that you eat depends on pollinators?
I did not know that statistic.
That's a stat that they came up with.
But they're $1 billion, if not $1 trillion industry.
Oh my gosh, so much money. Because they are essential for all of the... Are you ready? I'm going to read you a list of things.
Right.
There's so much more than this.
Right.
But these are just some examples. Apples, almonds, oranges, avocados, peaches, pears, plums, cherries, alfalfa, blueberries, vanilla, cranberries, tomatoes, kiwi, figs, coffee, strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, lemons, limes, eggplants, kumquats, nectarines, grapes, and chocolate.
Kumquat. You ever had a kumquat?
Yes, we just ate kumquats together.
What?
What?
We did?
Literally this past weekend.
That was a kumquat?
Yes, we picked kumquats off of a tree and we ate them together.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
we cheers
Sorry, it
kumquats
was a special moment.
like
I forgot.
4 days ago. Yes, I love kumquats. Anyway, anytime you eat any of those foods, you have to thank a bee, okay, or a pollinator.
Oh, thank you.
Because we would not have them without them. Okay. That's a lot. You gotta be busy, okay? They are busy. Yeah. That's a lot of work.
I saw an almond tree for the first time. They're cool.
Yeah, I was there.
I
pointed it out to you. I was like, that's an almond tree.
I know. And that's why I'm like, oh my God. It's so cool. And they're so fuzzy. And every time I see one now in California, I'm going to think of it.
Great. Yes. Almond trees are cool. Okay, so bees pollinate 80% of all flowering plants, that's including 75% of the fruits, nuts, and vegetables grown in the U.S. It's a lot. On a single foraging trip, a female bee can visit hundreds of flowers.
Single trip.
A single trip.
In a day.
Yeah.
They have more than one trip a day. I'm
yeah,
sure.
Probably.
So she can
hundreds
do 1,000
flowers.
She could, in theory, do 1,000 flowers in a day.
Yes.
That's cool.
Very impressive stuff. They're very busy. They're very busy. They're called that for a reason. How does this work? Okay, number one, bee has to find flower. Bees can detect UV light. Many of the flowers that are pollinated by bees have a region of low UV reflectance near the center of each petal. So this is what we see in a flower. Audio listeners, it's a picture of a flower. And then...
It's black and white.
Yeah, it's black and white. And then what bee sees is like a black void on the inside of the flower. So this is how they target the center of the flower, which is kind of cool. So first, bees find the flower. Another way that they can help each other find flowers is by dancing. They do a, quote, waggle dance for each other, where scout bees will return to the nest, and then they'll dance. And somehow through their dance, they'll tell each other the distance and direction of a newly discovered flower patch.
Coordinates. Easy.
They dance coordinates
It's
to
so
each other.
cool.
Isn't that nuts?
I'm gonna start communicating to you in dance.
Connor, we could never, it would like years. We could try to figure that out for years and we wouldn't be able to do that.
No.
It's amazing.
It's crazy.
So cool. So, I don't know, try it with your partner or something sometime. See what happens. How does pollination work? Do you guys already know this? Should I tell them or do they know?
I mean, you give it TLDR.
All right, we'll give it TLDR. Pollination is flower boinking, right? Flower reproduction. So bees eat pollen and nectar, okay? Nectar gives them like the sugars and energy that they need, and pollen gives them the protein that they need. So a bee will land on a flower's anthers, which is the male part of the plant, right? And then pollen will get on the bee on these little like sacs on their legs. This is what this looks like, right? They have little pollen sacs on their legs, it sticks to them, and then they fly to another flower to go eat some more stuff, and then they distribute that pollen onto the stigma of another flower, which is the female part. Love. This is how baby flowers are made. The fertilized flower, that's how it yields fruit. So this is how we get our fruits, okay? Do you know why some bees buzz?
No.
By the way, have you ever noticed like when a bee will land on a flower, it'll go zzz?
Is it like vibrating the pollen?
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So there are some bees that will bite the anthers and they'll hold on really tight and then they'll play a C, like the note, like a C note.
Okay.
And they'll go zzz, and then it vibrates out.
That's so cool.
Onto them. Yeah,
Okay.
so not only are they really good dancers, but they're also really good musicians.
Okay.
So yeah, there's that. I have some drama to bring up.
Okay.
So bees are at risk, right?
Yeah.
So there's habitat loss, fragmentation, pesticide use, climate change, introduced diseases, reduction of native plants, et cetera, that are hurting bee populations.
And people are like, you know what, we could just do it ourselves. And we don't actually need bees. So if they die, we'll just make many drones do it all. And bees are useless. Is that a drama?
No.
That
That sucks.
That is a small subsection of the internet.
Yeah, that's too bad. 28% of bumblebees in Canada, US, and Mexico are in an IUCN threatened category. My drama is with Save the Bees, the Save the Bees movement.
Okay.
Are you familiar?
Yes.
Okay, so like there's the Save the Bee movement. It got really popular, which is actually really sick because it's really hard to get people to care about invertebrates ever. I don't really know why bees. I don't know why this happened. I should have looked into the history of like why this was so successful.
I mean, I think bumblebees have always been.
Because they're cute.
Yeah, like they've always
Why are
been.
they cute?
I don't know.
Because
They
they're
put them
fuzzy?
on charms and the coloration of them, and they're around everywhere, and on flowers, and you get really cool pictures of them. And they're probably one of the more charismatic insects.
So you think if they put like tarantulas are also fuzzy? You think if they put tarantulas on like
Fuzzy
more
and,
stickers?
Like not the best way for people, because they're larger and arachnid and stuff like that, and they're not on flowers normally. So when they see them, they get scared because they're in their house. Bees aren't really in the house all that
Tarantulas
often.
don't go in the house. What?
They've been in a garage.
I've had more bees in my house than tarantulas in my house 100% throughout my lifetime.
I've had way more tarantulas in my garage.
Okay, well, anyway, this was a bit of an anecdote. So, Save the Bees did really well. Like, it became a really popular movement.
Yeah.
But people were like, let's save the bees, and then they were like, let's save the honeybee, right?
Okay.
Honeybees don't need saving. They're great for agriculture, right? Because honey. But then they outcompete native bees because they monopolize the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Rude. They're also not native to North America, and they're not endangered. So all of these native bees are being outcompeted by honeybees, and then people will be like, "I'm gonna save the bees by having like a beehive.
Right.
I'm gonna bring all these bees here and save them." And that's not what Save the Bees should be about. Okay, Save the Bees should be about saving native bees and supporting native bee populations, and not honeybees.
What's your take on the bee trucks?
What?
They bring in semis to pollinate
What?
farms. You didn't know this?
No.
So there's this whole industry around agriculture for helping pollinate, because they've killed off all native pollinators in the area.
Yeah.
And so what they do is they bring in a truck of like the honeybee. I don't know what the exact species of bee, but it's a non-native bee for the most part. It's a semi-truck. They park it next to the fields for a few days. They go around and pollinate, and then at night they shut it up and they go to the next field and just keep moving around. I know some entomologists that have real problems with that because you just spend that money on, having native pollinators, and you could do a better job, and it would actually save you money in the long term, and you get higher yields. Instead, people are just looking for the easy fix, like a pill, like a pharmaceutical pill, to fix the problem instead of, going to physical therapy, basically.
Yeah.
So that's the short end of it. But I wish farmers would be more regenerative.
Right. Yeah. I think what we're learning over time is the best way to be regenerative, to be holistic, to be sustainable is to support like a healthy, biodiverse ecosystem where that farm is planting cover crops, planting pollinator plants. Native bees are also way more efficient at pollinating plants than honeybees are. Like it takes way more honeybees. So yeah.
You don't have to worry about pests, like parasites, stuff like that as well, as much with the native guys, because you have the basic kind of set up a whole bunch of things.
Anyway, so if you want to help protect bees, native bees, you can plant a pollinator garden. You can provide overwintering habitat for bees. That can be a few things. Here's a picture of what that looks like. So 70% of native bees are ground nesting, so they burrow in soil. So they need access to bare soil. So like, just let there be dirt sometimes. Okay, 30% of native bees are cavity nesting. So they like having dead wood, hollow stems, and brush piles. So like, don't clear out all of your plants that are dying right away. Like leave them over the winter if they're stalks so that bees can sleep in there, overwinter in there. Bumblebees will create nests and cavities underground. So they like having brush piles. So you can leave brush piles not too close to your house, but like wherever you can. So that's good habitat for bees and birds and reptiles. Like everything loves a good brush pile. And then, butterflies lay their eggs on specific plants. And bees like specific flowers, so like planting a pollinator garden helps bees out a lot. And that's my spiel.
I like doing like perimeter stuff. Like I tell people, like put it on your perimeter, especially on like the backside of fences where you're not going to see it. Like let it be. Yeah. And here's what it needs to be. Yeah. And then if you do need to clear it out, you can look at the best type of year to clear it out, and you can replace it with like, if you really want to, like the bug hotels. Yeah. Like that, so.
Man, these are some busy guys, okay? They need like a good, cozy break. Just give them a break. Help them out. Yeah. Thank you.
I like bees.
Me too.
So I got something on the opposite spectrum of bees. Okay. And you might not think of them as busy, but they're busy pretty often. Sea otters. Okay. So they're very cute. Yeah, we know about sea otters. We're not talking river otters. Stuff like that.
I feel like they're secretly evil.
Secretly evil?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, I just get that vibe.
Very smart.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they're evil.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like some evil things are done onto them.
True. You know what? I take it back.
Hurt otters might hurt or hurt people. So maybe with the sea otters, I don't know. You know what? They need to get evil to survive.
Oh, okay.
They should. They should get way more.
You know why? Actually, I think I'm thinking that is because of the way they like hammer stuff. It's really sad. Like on little guys. Yeah. My invertebrate friends.
That's true. Well, your invertebrate friends are killing the ecosystem. The ones that they eat. But we did an episode on I guess you talked about a sea otter.
The one that like surfboards.
Yeah.
In Santa Cruz.
That would bite surfboards, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like mess with people and stuff like that. So there's that one. Anyway, okay. So let's establish a little bit of baseline before I talk about why they are busy all the time. So their habitats. Here's a little bit of habitat map for you, where they're at. Coastal waters of northern Pacific Ocean. I'll talk about how it used to be a lot bigger range. It's much smaller now. But they're mostly seen. Is that the Bay Area of California there? Like, is that close to San Francisco on the map?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So around there, have you ever seen them in the Bay Area?
Mm-mm.
Interesting. Okay. I know Monterey Bay around there too.
Yeah,
They
for
have
sure.
those. Up in Alaska, I did see a lot of them when I was up in Alaska. Very cute, just hanging out, chilling.
Cute.
So they weigh at like the low end about 30 pounds, and at the high end 100 pounds, or 1 Maya. So that's 14 to 45 kilograms. So they're pretty big.
They're pretty big. They're bigger than people realize.
Mm-hmm. So if they're pretty big, that means they got pretty big teeth. So maybe that's where you're thinking they're evil.
Ouchie.
Yeah.
Big ouchie. You know where else they're evil? They steal things and they put them in their pouch, in their elbow pockets.
Nice.
Steal them.
Yeah. Have you worked with a river?
River otters.
River otter, yeah. Were they evil?
Yes.
They got your ankles?
Yes.
Nice.
They're not evil. They're just under human care and they're bored and short teeth.
So, what do you think they eat? What do they love to eat?
Sea urchins,
Okay.
clams,
Yeah.
starfish,
Yeah. Crabs,
snails,
octopi, no,
yeah,
octopuses. I hate that word. Fish,
yeah, okay.
stuff like that. Okay. Guess how much they can eat in body weight every day? Like percentage of their body weight.
30%.
Which is a really good guess. 25 to 40%. You're right in the middle of it. Which is a lot. They have to eat a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of sea urchin.
Yeah.
Have you eaten sea urchin before?
I don't think so.
It's like a delicacy.
Yeah.
Sushi.
Yeah. People are into it for sure.
Yeah, there's not, from what I've seen videos on, there's like not a lot of meat
Yeah.
in there, so they eat a lot.
And that's like,
lot of work.
high work. Yeah, like a lot of work for not a lot of reward.
And so, yeah, they've figured out how to use rocks. They're really intelligent to like open up these clams. Dang it. Mm-hmm. So what do you think their predators are?
Sharks,
Kind of.
humans,
Humans, yes. And their biggest predator.
seals.
Seals
No.
sometimes.
No.
Yeah, seals sometimes. Sea lions, sorry. Sea lions. Not seals. Sea lions.
I was gonna say like leopard seal would eat them, but they don't live in the same place. Harbor seal would not eat them. What else is freaking in there? Orcas?
Mm-hmm. Killer whales. That's their biggest predator.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That
I
sucks.
didn't want to pull the videos up. It was really sad.
Yeah, it's really sad.
But there's been great white sharks accidentally eat them.
What do you
not
mean by
eat-
accident?
Sorry, not accidentally kill them. They don't eat them. So they'll mistake them for a seal. And
What? And they don't want? It's not good enough?
because they're so thick and oily of like a pelt, they don't like, apparently like the scientists think that they don't like the fur.
Oh.
And so they'll chomp into them once they take a bite, they'll spit it out.
That's awful.
Yeah. So, because it got me thinking, like, these guys are just like floating out there
Yeah.
in groups.
Oh, that's like
called
nightmare.
rafts.
Nightmare.
Up in Alaska,
You're on your back. You like can't see what's under you.
you're sleeping.
Oh no.
They're just floating out there, enjoying themselves. For the most part. Granted, the picture that you just saw was of an otter in a kelp forest, which we'll talk about a little bit later, and that was really protected for them. And like, I'd feel safe in a kelp forest. Like, the orca's not going to see you and all that kelp. It's unlikely anyway. But when they're out just in the harbor,
Yeah.
you know, an orca comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, the other things they've been known to get eaten by is bald eagles who come after the pups.
Wow.
Yeah. Coyotes and wolves, when the sea otters go on land, will get them.
They shouldn't go on land. They look weird
Yeah.
on land. I don't like when they run around like that.
But the biggest killers are oil spills,
Yeah.
chemical dumps,
Yeah.
land animal parasites and diseases, including highly pathogenic avian influenza, H5N1,
Crazy.
are infecting and killing sea otters.
Sad.
Killing a lot of things. Like, they're even finding that the bird flu in like dolphins and manatees.
That's so scary.
Yup.
It being all up in our oceans is messed up.
It's not great. So there's not many mammals it's not touching. I mean, it's touching people now, obviously,
Yeah.
but thankfully no people-to-people transmission. So oil spills are an issue because once the oil gets into the fur, the really, really dense fur of the sea otters makes it to where they can't hold heat anymore. These are cold Pacific waters. It makes that dense pelt hold 70% less heat,
Wow.
which is terrible.
That's
Yeah.
awful.
So they die of hypothermia. Really sad. So they need to get some Dawn soap put on and scrubbed out,
Yeah.
and then they go back out. So they're globally nearly threatened, and some subspecies are endangered. Their lifespan in the wild is 10 to 15 years. Human care is up to 20 years. They give birth to one pup every year. There's a very cute picture of a pup.
They're so cute.
They'll give birth in the water. Their gestation is anywhere from 4 to 8 months, based off of like how they ovulate, and like there's a bunch of studies on it. I won't get into too much, but like they can hold on to the egg, and like delay things. So some really cool facts. So they have the densest fur in the animal kingdom, up to 1 million hairs per square inch, and they have what's called groups drifting around. They're called rafts. It's been the most that has ever been recorded is 100.
What?
All linked up together.
Stop.
As a raft.
That's crazy.
All on their backs, just hanging out. It's very cute. They'll wrap themselves in kelp to avoid drifting away while they're sleeping too.
Wow, that's so smart.
It's very smart. So, sea otters love to eat sea urchins.
Yes.
Sea urchins love to eat kelp.
Yes.
Where do you think so there's a lot of kelp. Where's a lot of kelp? In kelp forests.
Yes.
And where do you think sea urchins start to eat from? The top or the bottom of the kelp?
The bottom.
Sadly, the bottom. Which would be probably less an issue if they started up top.
Right.
So kelp, very large. Have you seen it in person when you're in the ocean? Yeah. Okay. So very large. It can span hundreds of feet from the base of the sea floor up to the surface. And the sea urchins come in, chew from the bottom.
That is actually so annoying.
Quick and easy, and then it releases and floats away.
Yeah, that sucks.
And so it's a lot of kelp to just float away.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why the kelp forests are really important. You know this better than others, but to the viewers. Attach, float away. And so if this happens a few times, not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens is, or when something bad happens, is when the overpopulation of sea urchins come in and eat the whole forest, and they create what's called a urchin barren.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets rid of all the kelp forests. So why do kelp forests matter? They provide shelter, breeding grounds, and food for over 1,000 marine species, including fish, sea otters, urchins, snails, and seabirds. Seabirds, which is interesting. So it's a biodiverse hotspot.
Yeah.
Comparable to coral reefs in terms of ecological importance in temperate regions, and supports species at every level of the food web. So we want those kelp forests. Those urchins are coming there, eating them up. The kelp forests absorb carbon dioxide, a significant portion of it. They are carbon sequestering as well. Mm-hmm. And they produce oxygen to help reduce ocean acidification on a local level, not on a major ocean level.
Yeah.
They act as a natural buffer against wave action and storm surge for storms on the California coasts and Alaskan coasts, and reduces shoreline erosion and protects coastal infrastructure. Huge.
Wow. Yeah.
They do so much. I didn't realize this.
I didn't either.
They support fisheries, providing a habitat for commercially important species. They're used in food production like sushi wraps, ice cream, cosmetics, and pharmaceuticals, which is really interesting. Here's a picture of them harvesting kelp. In California, it's legal. It's just very heavily regulated.
Okay.
But kelp grows really fast.
Yeah.
Kelp can grow to almost 2 feet every day.
What?
Some species of it. Generally around the Monterey Bay area, they're it grows 12 to 16 inches. So 2 feet, about 2 feet, about 60 centimeters. So you could have 1 million in 2.5 days.
What?
And it's really cool. It's so fast. So it's really regenerative. It's a really good...
Yeah, it's really convenient that I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, okay.
The kelp forests are also are used heavily in marine biology research because you have all that concentration of all the species, and serves as an ocean health and sensitivity indicator. Which is really cool.
Cool.
So you don't have to worry about urchin barrens if you have healthy sea otter populations.
Yeah.
So they'll come down there, they'll eat it up, they'll keep them in check, no big deal. But what happens if you don't have a healthy population of sea otters?
Overrun by urchins. Kelp forests die.
So
we get extreme Earth weather events, and all of our coastal cities get wiped out. Our oceans become acidified. There's too much carbon in our atmosphere. We get global warming because it's not sequestering the carbon.
Is that crazy? But yeah, I mean, like food chain collapses on the West Coast. A lot. I would say like 50% of what you said. Yeah. There is some studies like if sea otters aren't there, there are other things that come in there to help control the sea urchins. They're not as good.
Right.
And you get a lot of destruction, and you need people to go down there and help keep sea urchins back, which is really labor intensive. But we did a really dumb experiment from 1741 to 1911 to see what happens when we go hunt and kill sea otters for their pelts. We want to see, they were like, yeah, let's see what happens to the kelp forest. Why not?
Okay, it wasn't like that wasn't the intention. It was
That's not what they said.
They're just hunting them a lot.
So it took their global numbers from around 300,000 down to 1,000 or around 2,000.
That is crazy.
It's insane.
That's it. That's crazy.
1911.
Wow.
And then they banned it. They're like, we need to stop that. So huge conservation push back then really helped bring back the sea otters. But there's a huge population loss, in the oceans, a huge trophic cascade, as they say.
Yeah.
And they think that because the sea otters weren't controlling sea urchin populations, sea kelp forests just got decimated, and the sea kelp forests were the only food source for a beautiful animal called the Steller's sea cow. Here's a picture, like a drawing of it.
What?
This is a gigantic, like manatee-esque, cold water manatee, I guess.
Oh, I'm pissed.
So next picture will show you kind of their size. Huge. Absolutely huge.
Guys, you could fit like 3 manatees in it.
It's insane.
Just 4.
They
5, maybe.
believe they primarily only ate the soft parts of the kelp. So when you lose all of these kelp forests, their range is now just reduced.
Yeah.
And then you have humans coming in there probably killing them for fun at that point. So they went extinct in 1768.
Ah.
That's 27 years
Boo.
after the start of the major trappings for the sea otters, which really sucks.
That sucks.
Other examples of like trophic issues with sea otters being gone are extreme depletion of fisheries that are really important to California, Oregon, Japan, Russia, all these other countries as well, and significant more storm damage to coastlines and stuff like that. So, long story short, we got to really protect the sea otters, and their population is now 125,000 globally.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
Which they've come back significantly, but they still need a good bit of help. If they get to like the 200,000 number, like that'd be more sustainable for everybody.
Okay. Well, I take back what I said about them being secretly evil. I actually don't think that at all.
I wish they would be evil.
Yeah. They deserve it.
They need to fight back.
Yeah. Quiz time!
Quiz time! Okay, this should be a pretty easy one. What is the smallest mammal that can exist in the ocean?
Yeah, my buzzer definitely works. Smallest, like hypothetical?
What is
Current.
the smallest mammal?
It's a sea otter.
It is a sea otter.
It is a sea otter. A rattling life.
Theoretically.
The way the question was phrased, I was just making sure.
Ah, dang it! Okay.
Sea otter.
Sea otter, yeah, makes sense. Alright, you ready for mine?
Yes.
I got a quick one for you.
Okay.
Earthworms.
Okay.
Love the worms.
Earthworm Jim, do you remember that game?
No. I played Slither.io though.
Oh, okay.
Anywhere from 3,000 to 30,000 species, we don't really know. It's hard to count. They're underground. They're small. They wiggle away.
That's a small number.
It's hard to say. Yeah. They feed on organic matter in soils, fresh decaying matter. As they feed, they move through the soil and they mix their waste in the soil and they make these tunnels. Yeah. So they're aerating the soils. They're putting nutrients into our soil, so they're really important. Guess how much they can eat every day?
Like body percentage? 50.
Yeah.
Okay.
50% of their body weight they can eat every day in decaying matter. I
love worms.
would have to eat, me too. I would have to eat 200 hamburgers every day to keep up with a worm. Isn't that crazy?
You can't do it. There's no way.
That is like, that's a busy guy.
Mm-hmm.
200, half of your body weight every day, guys. You could not do anything else. If I had to eat 200 hamburgers in a day, you can't sleep. You can't sleep. All you're doing is eating, going to find the next hamburger and eating it. And then eating it and
drink
eating
coffee
it.
to speed up my digestive system.
Yeah, or something. I don't know. Yeah, it's
You have to
constant.
eat
It's
while
in and
you're
out. It's the whole
pooping.
time. Yeah, 100%. There's no way around it.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay.
That sucks. That's crazy. So they're consuming carbon, they're processing it, they're excreting it. They're very, very, very important. They're ecosystem engineers, actually, like beavers.
Mm-hmm.
Super, super vital. Guess how long the largest earthworm ever found was? It was in South Africa.
Like 3 inches.
Guess again.
The 3 inches is huge, Maya. 5? It can't be over 6. That's just,
Inches?
yeah, that's just not possible.
22 feet.
No. Why did you think I would guess that?
I don't know. I just thought that you knew.
22
You've never seen
feet?
like a big earthworm? You're
No.
like, okay, no, they get really big.
22 feet? That's crazy. That's not a worm. That's bigger than a snake.
It's like a really big snake. 22 feet, 6.7 meters. It was the biggest earthworm ever found.
They have to use an excavator?
From nose to tail. I don't know. I don't know. There's Gippsland earthworms in Australia. These are regularly found at about 9 feet. Here's what they look like. There's one picture of a guy taking it out of the ground, and this is a picture of a woman holding one. Audio
That's
listeners,
crazy.
it is like holding a very, very, very skinny snake. Long one, though.
Reminds me of like the Laffy Taffy strings.
Yeah.
Just minus the nerds.
9 feet, 3 meters long. So this guy weighs like 4 hamburgers.
How much is a hamburger?
Quarter pound?
4 ounces.
4
Oh.
ounces.
Okay.
So he's got to eat a lot. There's a lot of food going in that guy, a lot of poop coming out of that guy.
Is that why the ground is so nice where they're at? Because
Yeah.
they're just doing so much good work? Like there's
Yes.
such lush greenery
Yes.
behind it.
Yes, it was the worms. Thank you for
Those worms.
noticing that.
Yeah.
When they excrete whatever they're eating, it comes out better for the soils. I think you guys already knew that, but they're very important. There's also giant earthworms in Oregon. Guess how big they get?
12 inches?
4 feet.
Oh my god.
1.3 meters. Here's a picture of a Oregon giant earthworm. This is from my naturalist. It was hard to find like a good. I mean, these are the one in the middle is a good example. It's on a paper towel, and it's like maybe almost double the length of a normal paper towel. Hot dog
Incredibly.
size style.
You can't fish with those.
Could it would just be really inconvenient.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I guess you could cut it out, but don't do that. Is it true that you can cut a worm in half and it regenerates?
So it kind of depends where you cut it. Like.
Okay.
You could cut its tail off and it would maybe be okay. But if you cut like by its head, it's probably most of the time. Don't try this at home, okay? Most of the time, both sides are just gonna die. But there is a
Okay.
chance it can like regenerate a tail or something.
I was told as a kid that if you cut it in half, it creates 2 earthworms and they regenerate.
But it's possible to, again, depending on where you cut it, if you get really lucky.
Interesting.
But don't do that to little worms, okay? Anyway, earthworms are really busy guys because they're aerating all of our soils. There can be like 1 million earthworms in an acre plus. They're everywhere.
Jeez.
Yeah. They're everywhere. They're all up in there. And they're busy guys. They gotta eat half their body weight every day.
Do you think Texas ground has... It's not eating through limestone. There's no way.
No, and they have to stay moist because they breathe through their skin, right? They like absorb oxygen through their skin.
Right.
And so they have to stay moist to survive. If they dry out, they die. Also, apparently, I didn't look into this enough and I wish I did. Apparently, if they're in sun for too long, they get paralyzed. don't really know why that's the case. Anyway, no, they're not in limestone because it's not wet enough.
I've
They're
seen
like wet soil.
I used to try to rescue them off the concrete.
Yeah.
But it probably never really worked.
I would.
I mean, I still, here you go.
Yeah, you
some
should still
water
do
on
that. I think that's nice.
and then hope they go back in and bury them a little bit.
Mhm. Save an earthworm, thank an earthworm. Thank you for listening again.
Well, that's awesome. I've got the worms of the ocean. Very proportional.
Eels?
Baleen whales.
What?
It's nothing like that. Well, that's kind of similar to worms, but not really. So, a baleen whale.
That doesn't look like a worm at all. Audio listeners, it looks like a whale. Like, imagine a whale. That's what it looks like.
So, baleen whale, they're a type, like a whale characteristic, put in their filter
Oh,
feeders.
okay.
So, there are 14 species.
Oh,
so
okay.
a blue whale in there. So a baleen whale is a type of whale characterized by having a baleen plate or plates instead of a tooth.
Don't people hunt them for that?
Yeah.
For what? What do they use that for?
I don't quite remember what it was for, but I do know they would hunt them. So the plates are made of keratin, so like human fingernails and hair.
Mhm.
They hang from the upper jaw, allowing the whale to filter feed on small prey like krill, plankton, and small fish by taking a huge amount of water, putting it in their mouth, and it has a bunch of krill and fish in it, and then pushing the water out,
Mhm.
and then it gets stuck in the baleen,
Cool.
the plankton and stuff, and the fish, and then they lick it with their tongue on the inside.
Oh, cute.
Yep. So they're also characterized by having two blowholes. I was like, what does two blowholes look like? And here's a picture of two blowholes. The next picture. Look at that, two blowholes. It's weird.
Wow, it looks like a nostril.
It does.
Nostrils.
They are generally larger than toothed whales. They're migratory, traveling thousands of miles between feeding and breeding grounds.
Okay.
So, like I said earlier, there are 14 species. The most notable blue whale, the humpback whale, and North Atlantic right whale, which you've seen, correct? Or like you were trying to see?
No, I did a video on protecting them, but I don't know. I don't think we ever saw it right now.
They're critically endangered.
Yeah.
Which is insane. So, of the 14 species, 6 are least concerned, 1's vulnerable, 1's near threatened, 3 are endangered, 2 are critically endangered, and 2 are data deficient. So, fun times.
Cool.
So, why are baleen whales always so busy? Well, they got a filter feed, of course.
Yeah. It's incredible that they eat such small things and they're so big. Like, you have to eat so much.
Yeah. Insane. They have to eat. So they will eat for about 15 hours a day. They don't eat every day. They have to eat 4% of their body weight, which I didn't do the calculation in burgers because it's
Yeah.
a massive amount. So
Yeah.
you eat thousands of burgers every day. But they'll eat for 4 to 6 months a year, and they won't eat for another
Oh.
5 to 6 months. They're always moving. They're always going to different spots. They're
Yeah.
migrating they'll migrate to a feeding site
Mhm.
up north generally, and then they'll migrate south for breeding. So why they're so important, and because they're so busy, they create what's called a whale pump or a nutrient cycle. So the baleen whales will feed.
Whale pump. Whale pump.
They'll feed at depths, often on krill, and they'll defecate near the surface, releasing
Whale
iron,
poop. Whale poop.
nitrogen, phosphorus. This fertilizes the phytoplankton near the surface and the base of the marine web. So phytoplankton is very, very important. So basically, phytoplankton, if you have more of it, equals more fish, more carbon capture, more oxygen. Side note, phytoplankton produces over 50% of Earth's oxygen.
Mhm.
Also a big carbon sequestering side of things in the ocean as well. People don't know, like trees do 50% of
Yeah.
the world's oxygen, and the ocean does the other 50%.
Every other breath we take, you either think a tree or you think a little plankton.
Yeah, it's awesome. So the other thing this is a little sad, but I want to mention on the whale pump cycle is whale carcasses called whale falls.
Mhm.
They create deep sea habitats that support entire ecosystems of scavengers, bacteria, and unique species for a decade. We did an episode, which like deep sea, like it was
Yeah, bone worms or something.
Zombie worms?
Zombie worms.
Yeah, zombie worms.
Yeah.
Talked about that. It was really cool. Go check out that episode. It was one of our first
It was
ones.
early,
Yeah, it was really cool. So their movements and feeding patterns influence prey distribution, such as krill in fish swarms, which is really interesting. Like they'll change everything up. They force these fish species not to just stay in one zone.
Mm-hmm.
They force them to go around, which is really good for other predators to catch them out in different spots. So just having these giant mega whales just in the area just do so much for the ecosystem. So by consuming a large amount of zooplankton, baleen whales prevent overpopulations of these tiny animals as well. They maintain balance between plankton eaters and phytoplankton, which are essential for ocean health. The whale populations will indirectly boost fish stock by enriching surface waters with nutrient and enhancing plankton growth. And then they're just stimulating climate regeneration and CO2 absorption and all that with the phytoplankton as well. So here's a little bit of a diagram of what it looks like in all those words. Here's pictures for it. So they're constantly working, they're constantly moving, they don't really slow down. And if we didn't have them, the ocean would not be the same. And we arguably need them the most out of any whale species. For our oceans, we still need all whales, are all very important, but we need to spend extra time protecting these guys because having boats regulate phytoplankton, get out of here.
Yeah. Right.
No shot.
Cool. All right. Busy whales, busy bees, busy earthworms, and busy
Sea otters.
sea otters. Thank you guys for watching this episode. We're going to go to the Patreon to film our bonus episodes over there. If you haven't checked us out, feel free to check us out on Patreon. Like and subscribe.
I'm going to go change my pants.
Bye.
Bye.